I'm a senior lecturer at Ukrainian-American Concordia University, and I teach English composition that is actually about writing. And I'm glad to see you all today, and I guess we can start with our presentation and with our topic. So give me a second, I will share my screen. So our topic for today is the art of writing essays. And why I call this presentation the art of writing essays? Because writing actually, it's a real masterpiece. It's a real art. It's your individual property. And actually, it's your creativity, it's your opinion, and it's your thoughts. That is why writing is a real art. Of course, if you're not simply copy pasting information from the internet. And of course, it needs time and it needs practice. That is why today we're going to speak about how to create a good essay. We're going to speak about the structure, basic structure, and at the end, I will show you example of well-made essay writing. So I hope we can go next. And the first question that we need to discover, what is an essay? So essay or essays are pieces of writing. The main task is to persuade the reader to accept a particular point of view, position, or way of understanding. That is why your main task in essay is to persuade your readers or to persuade your audience. That is actually quite difficult to do. That is why, of course, you need to use specific cues in order to do it as best as it can be possible. In most cases, when you prepare an essay, for example, for an international test, TOEFL, IELTS, or the NEO test, you have a question that is asked, and your response to a question, it's actually your essay. Your answer is your essay. Why? Because in your answer, again, you include your personal opinion, your thoughts, your ideas, and your creativity. So let's move on. The next question that my students always ask, how many words? So how many words do we need in essay writing? So let's take a look, what do we have at the screen? We have different types of writing and of course different requirements. Let's start from the left side. For high school essay, our task is from 300 till 1,000 words. For college admission essay, it's 200 slash 650. Undergraduate college student, college essay, it's 1,500, 5,000 words. Graduate school admission essay, it's from 500 till 1,000, and graduate school essay, it's 2.5 till 6,000 words. And the pink one circle, this is the average. The average amount is from 300 till 1,000. For international test or for any other test, this amount is actually okay. That is why you may actually focus on these numbers. This is the average. So once again, from 300 till 1,000 words. And it will be actually already made good essay writing. That's why please do not forget at least to somehow count the words before submission of your essay. The next one point that we need to cover actually is the purpose of our essay. So the idea, the reason of writing this essay. And in academic writing, we have three main purposes in essay writing. Let's take a look, what do we have? Number one, we have analytical purpose. So what is the idea of analytical purpose? It's to analyze the idea, to evaluate the idea, somehow to judge the idea if you want. As you can see, it evaluates the issue or idea by presenting analysis of the breakdown and or components to the reader. That is why if your task is to analyze, it's obvious that your purpose is to analyze. It means that you need to evaluate the given information. If you have number two, expository. So here you need to explain something. Explain the issue, the situation, the event, the consequences. So your main task is to provide your reader with explanations of something. And the third one purpose that considered to be the most popular, especially for international test, it's argumentative. It is the most popular, it's the most interesting, and at the same time, it is the hardest. Why? Because your task is to convince or persuade your reader that a claim is valid. So your task is to persuade your readers to agree with you, to take your position, and at least to follow your ideas. In some books, you can find argumentative purpose or persuasive. So they are synonyms, and the idea is still the same, to convince your reader to agree with you. That is why, of course, it's not easy to do, but with the proper structure, I'm sure everything will be okay. So, speaking about the types of essay that we have, actually there are a lot of them, and let's take a look. What do we have on the screen? The first one, it's expository. Expository is actually close to the purpose number 2, expository. Here you need to explain the information by usage, facts, numbers, data, statistics. Here you also need to include clear and focused understanding of the issue, element, event, situation. The next one type that considered to be the most creative, the most individual, it's narrative. Narrative, it's about storytelling. You're creating a story, or you're telling a story of your life. It may be based on your real life experience. The most creative, because here you can work with the setting, you need to discover or create a plot, you need to work with characters of your story. That is why, of course, maybe it's not that structured and strict, but at the same time, it's very interesting. The third one, we have cause and effect. So it's like reason and result. Here we need to show the relationship between an event and its consequences. So highly popular in scientific research or scientific papers. The first one, we have descriptive. It's clear from the name that your task is to describe. Describe a place, describe a person, describe a setting, describe a background. Quite often, narrative essay goes with descriptive essay. So they have connection. You need to describe a character of your story. You need to describe a setting of your story. Then we have compare and contrast essay. So here we're speaking about similarities and difference between multiple subjects. So your task is to identify what is similar and what is different. And as subtopic, you can also include writing about advantages and disadvantages. And again, the pink one, argumentative. So why pink? Because it's the most popular type of writing. Why? Because here you include your personal opinion concerning to the question. That is why it's the most popular if you're planning to pass tests, if you're planning to have an essay assignment. Why? Because it's more personal and individual. You're sharing your opinion and you're working sometimes with very debatable issues or debatable topics. And you still remember that your task is to persuade your audience. So let's speak about the structure of our academic essay. So what is common for all of these types of paragraphs? It's structure. And in writing, we have such thing that is called burger structure. And I will explain why. So the first one, bun, in our burger, it's our introduction. In essay writing, your introduction should be approximately 5–10% out of the whole work. Then the middle part, the tastiest part, the diverse part of your writing, it's body. And as you can see, body is approximately 80% out of your work. Here you will include examples, numbers, statistics, data, and so on and so forth. And the last one, bun, it's our conclusion that is actually also 5 or 10% out of the work. In most cases, introduction and conclusion, they're quite equal in size. Body, as you can see, maybe is the hardest part to write. For a good academic essay, for examination, you need to have approximately 5-paragraph structure. One paragraph, it's introduction, and it's always one paragraph. One paragraph is conclusion, and the rest, it's body. For perfect academic essay, you need to have at least 3 paragraphs in body to fully cover the topic, to include support, and actually to build logical order and to completely answer in the question. This is the best structure, like 5 paragraphs in your essay. So right now we're going to speak about each of these parts in details. The first one, it's introduction. An introduction in essay consists of 3 main parts. That is number 1, hook, number 2, background information, and the third one, it's thesis statement. So a lot of unknown words or terms. That is why, of course, we need to speak about what does it mean. And this is the structure that you need to follow. This is important to understand that, first of all, you need to use it at the same order as I mentioned. Always, number 1, it's hook. Always, number 2, it's background information. And always, the third one, it's thesis statement. So once again, we're speaking only about introductory part. So if we are speaking about a hook, in dictionaries, we can see actually the proper definition. A hook, and this is the picture, it's something that we use to catch a fish. But in writing, hook, it's something that we use to catch our readers, to grab their attention, to make our writing interesting with a desire to continue reading. So what about the hook? Hook, it's always the first sentence in introductory part. Hook usually 1 or 2 sentences, and it's better not to overload your introductory. We use hook to attract our readers, to capture their attention. But what is more important, before creating a hook, you need to consider your audience. You need to think about people who will read your text. What is more important, writing, it's not only about you as an author, but it's also about people who will read your masterpiece. That is why, of course, you need to think about your audience. If we're speaking about the most popular types of hook, and I'm sure that you use some of them or you have seen some of them in books, you can try with quotation. So you can start your essay with the quotation. For example, to be or not to be. You can start with a definition. So it may be your first sentence, for example, in expository writing, when your task is to explain something, you can start by giving a definition. It may be a dictionary definition, or it may be definition by yourself. How do you understand the issue? For example, number 2, when we intentionally make false statements, we lie. Lies are regarded as sins, vices, transgressions, and immoral offenses. So it's obvious that our text will be about lying, maybe about types of lying, and this is our introductory part, and this is our hook. You can use a little known or striking facts or shocking statistic. Actually, it's always quite creative and interesting. For example, a cockroach can carry more than 40 different pathogens that could spread to humans. The next one, you can use an interesting incident or anecdote related to your subject. But again, it must be brief. And please do not forget about your audience. Sometimes jokes, not appropriate. So I'm Korean-Canadian, but the hyphen often snaps in two, obliging me to choose to act as either a Korean or a Canadian. And you can also start with a question. For example, have you ever thought you were in love with someone, but then realized you were just staring in the mirror for 20 minutes? And for example, it may be a great essay about self-esteem or self-love. And actually, there are much more ideas or many more ideas that you can use as a hook in your essay writing. It may be, for example, dialogues, maybe proverbs, it may be combative statements, it may be challenges, and so on and so forth. After creating a hook, you need to create a background information. So let's refresh once again. Hook is usually 1 or 2 sentences. The next one part, it's background information. Background information, it's usually from 3 to 5 sentences. In background information, you need to actually shortly explain about the information in the text. You work with the awareness of the topic. So you're going to emphasize an idea of essay or a topic of an essay. Background information often goes after the hook. And of course, it should be brief. After creating a background information, what is must and what is the hardest in introductory part, it is a thesis statement. Thesis statement is always the last sentence of introduction, always. It is usually one sentence, sometimes it may be two sentences, but no more. It is complex, compound, huge sentence. And as you can see on the screen, it states the main idea or argument of your essay. It is typically placed at the end of introductory part. It lets your reader know what to expect, and it is the basis of your entire essay. And as we have already said, it is the most important part of your essay. Why it is the most important part? Because all of the paragraphs that you will have in the body, they should be in a full connection with the thesis statement. Thesis statement is the most important sentence for the whole essay that you are planning to write. That is why this one part considered to be the hardest. If you have well-made thesis statement, your essay will be automatically well-structured. If you have a poor or a weak thesis statement, it's obvious that your essay will be weak. That is why please dedicate your time for writing a good, strong thesis statement. But again, it's not that easy. Here we have some things not to do. Your thesis statement could not be just a list of items. Your thesis statement could not be a question. It should not be too broad, like too general, without specific idea, and it could not be too narrow, so this is the opposite, too specific. You could not use facts because it's not your opinion, it's well-known information, but thesis statement, it's your personal opinion about the topic. It could not be more than 2 sentences long. This one point we have already discussed. It could not be an announcement. What does it mean, an announcement? In this essay, I will write about. I am going to tell about. This is announcement. It's absolutely inappropriate for a good academic writing. Thesis statement could not be a quote because, again, it's not your own words. That is why it could not be a thesis statement. And what is more important, if you want to increase your level in writing, please do not use such phrases like I think or I feel, because thesis statement, it's already your opinion. That is why these phrases absolutely inappropriate for a thesis statement. So, how actually write thesis statement? We have a lot of not, that what should we do? Your thesis statement, it is your subject plus your opinion equals thesis or thesis statement. Here we have some of the examples. Reading develops a child's mind by fostering comprehension skills, increasing vocabulary, and exposing them to new words they might not otherwise encounter. This is a great sentence. It's strong enough. It's clear what we're going to write about. And actually here we have the opinion of the author. Imagine that before reading you have, I think. I think reading develops a child mind. That's it, already made sentence, but without I think. What is more important, with the help of proper thesis statement, you build the order of your writing. It's obvious that the next paragraph after introduction will be about fostering comprehension skills. The third one paragraph will be about increasing vocabulary. The fourth one vocabulary will be exposing them to new worlds. And then, of course, conclusion. That is why a good thesis statement actually can be a small plan of your work. Let's take a look more. High levels of alcohol consumption have detrimental effects on your personal health, such as weight gain, heart disease, and liver complications. And these three problems we're going to cover in the body of our writing. Each of the ideas that you mentioned, it should be a separate paragraph. One more. Americans should add exercise to their daily morning routine because it not only keeps their bodies at a healthy weight, but also reduces the risk of high blood pressure. Here we have two paragraphs in the body about healthy weight and about reduce the risk of high blood pressure. That is why what is more important is to create a proper thesis statement. If you've done this thesis, then it's actually not a big problem to write the rest of your essay. Altogether, the introduction should be approximately 1 or 2 sentences as a hook, 3 or 5 sentences background information, and usually 1 sentence as the thesis statement. That's it, and it's enough for introduction. After creating the introduction, we need to create body. Actually, it's not that difficult to work with body, but again, we have some peculiarities. In body of your essay, you can include such kind of information as statistics. You can include facts, evidence, prediction, observation, comparison, experience, analysis. And all of this will be support to your idea. But what is more important, in the body of your essay, in each paragraph, you need to have topic sentence. In each paragraph, you need to have transitional words. They help us to work with the order. Transitional words, it is such words like first, second, third, and, or, but, however, to sum up, to summarize, therefore, you know these words. So in body, we need to think about logical order. That is why we need to organize the information in proper way. We also need to connect with the thesis statement. All of the ideas that you present in the body of your essay, they should be in a full connection with your thesis statement. That is why please do not forget to reread your writing before submitting it. And then we have conclusion. So what is so special in conclusion? Actually, it's pretty easy. You still remember that it's approximately 5 or 10% of our work. In your conclusion, you need to stress the importance of your thesis statement. So hello again, we're speaking about thesis statement. And as you can see, why it's necessary and why it's important. You need to give the essay a sense of completeness. So it should be obvious that you finish your idea. That is why please do not include new information in your conclusion. And of course, it's better to make a strong final impression on the reader. So you need to work with the final word in your conclusion. What can you use as the way to finish your ideas? You can include prediction, for example, what may happen. You can include suggestion, what you advise to do. You can finish with quotation. You can finish with question. But what is important? If you start with question, it's better not to finish with the question. If you start with quotation, it's better not to finish with quotation. That is why please share the information equally and do not repeat the same words all of the time. That is why, of course, in writing, you also need to think about vocabulary. You also need to work with grammatical rules, with punctuation, and of course, with logical order. That is why please do not forget about it. So let's take a look. What do we have as a good structure? We have introduction, introductory part, that is hook, that is background information, and that is thesis statement. Then we have body. In a general average paragraph, we have 3 paragraphs. In each paragraph, we need to have topic sentence. Each topic sentence should be in a full connection with a thesis statement. We have support, data, numbers, statistics, and so on and so forth. And we have a brief conclusion for the paragraph. And the same should be in other paragraphs in our essay. Then we have a conclusion. In conclusion, you can restate your thesis, so somehow paraphrase your thesis. You can use the previous information as we discussed, prediction, question, suggestion, quotation, and then you briefly summarize the information. This is the perfect structure of an academic essay. If you're going to follow this structure, I'm sure that writing an essay won't be so complicated, won't be so challenging for you. It's like in math. In math, you have a structure formula to follow. The same situation in writing. You have a formula to follow, and then everything will be as easy as possible. So let's take a look. What do we have as an example? I hope you can see my screen right now. And here we have an example of a perfectly made essay writing. First of all, let's take a look how many paragraphs we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's good. Perfect. We have introductory part, and you can see the size of an introduction. Here we have with yellow. It is our hook. Imagine life in Tokyo. Now imagine life in a neighborhood rural Japanese town. Finally picture life in Cairo, Egypt. Which of these last two places is more different from Tokyo? Here we have combination of hooks. We have imaginary situation, like imagine life in Tokyo and the rest. And we have a question. After the yellow part, we have background information that is very brief. Here we have just 3 sentences. And they're trying to explain the idea of our writing. So something about lifestyle in different areas. Then, with the pink one, we have a thesis statement. Perhaps some of the most notable differences in the lives of these two groups include a degree of friendliness between residents, the pace of life, and the variety of available activities. So we have mentioned 3 issues or 3 points. These ideas we're going to cover in the body. Paragraph number 2, and it's the first paragraph in the body. With the green one, we highlighted a topic sentence. One major difference between growing up in the city and in the country is the degree of friendliness. So let's come back to our thesis statement. Degree of friendliness, it was the first one issue. That is why we're speaking about the degree of friendliness. The next one paragraph, another difference in the pace of life. We mention it in the thesis statement, the pace of life, and here we go again. The third one, a third difference lies in the way people are able to spend their free time. We mentioned about the variety of available activities, and here actually we're going to speak about these activities. What is more, please do not forget about transitional words, for example. So if you do not have facts or numbers or statistics as a support in your paragraph, use personal examples, use real life situations. It's absolutely okay. And of course, it will be actually quite interesting to read about your personal experience. And the last one part, as you can see, it's pretty small. It's our conclusion. Here we have just 4 sentences, and it's absolutely enough. Life in urban areas and life in rural areas vary in terms of human interaction, pace of life, and daily activities. So we have actually the same ideas that in our thesis statement. Of course, we a bit paraphrase it, but it's okay if you do not have any other ideas how to finish your writing. And that's it. Here is an example of already made good essay writing. That is why actually writing is not that hard. All you need to do is follow the structure, and then everything will be perfect. So, thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, you're free to ask, and I hope it was useful for you, and right now you know how to organize it in a proper way. So, if there is no any other questions, I was glad to see you and to work with you. Thank you so much for being present today.